I know this might be sounding like a hot take, but I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. I truly believe Eli Manning can still play in the NFL. The past couple of years, he's been getting a lot of blame, and a large part of that being that the Giants just haven't been good those couple of years. But it's also worth mentioning he does deserve some blame. While I don't think he's washed up, there are some things that I wish he would be doing better, like take this play for example. This is a game against the Panthers, and as you see, the Giants are going up against a cover 2 man coverage scheme. These are the routes the Giants receivers will be running, and the two routes I want you to take a look at are going to be the ones that are running deep towards the sidelines. Now, typically these are the kind of routes designed to beat a cover 1 or cover 3, and since it's a cover 2, you could say it's probably not the best route to throw to. However, a lot of that will depend on where the safeties are positioned. If the safeties are closer to the middle of the screen, then the receiver could be open on the outside of the screen. When the play breaks down, you'll understand it a little bit more, and as you see right here, the Giants do have a receiver open towards that bottom half of the screen, and if you look, the safety is pretty far back. This means Eli Manning could have a tight window right about there. Now, this isn't an obvious situation where he should be throwing it deep at all. I mean, this is definitely the kind of situation where you could argue whether he should throw it deep or shouldn't throw it deep. However, personally, I feel like Eli Manning used to always make these kinds of throws. However, this time, he just goes for a check down, even though the check down itself wasn't even open, and it ends up falling incomplete. Now, this play in isolation doesn't really mean much. However, I think this play as a whole just shows how Eli Manning has been this past season and really the past 2 seasons. He's been a lot more passive than I remember him being. Not to say that he was ever Brett Favre, but I do feel like he took chances more frequently than he has been doing this past season or the past couple of seasons. This next play is another example of something I didn't love about Eli Manning, and take a look at that linebacker right there. Notice how he's playing close to the line, and that's very important. As you see, Eli Manning is now expecting a cover 1 linebacker blitz, which is what the formation is setting up like it's going to be. And as you can tell, the middle of the field would be pretty much wide open. However, instead that linebacker is going to be dropping back into coverage. That's crucial because the Giants have a receiver running a route right in that area. So if this was a cover 1 linebacker blitz, that receiver would probably get wide open. However, if this is a cover 1 hole, which it actually is, then that receiver is not going to be open at all and it'd be a very bad decision for Eli Manning to make. Not only does Manning not realize that the linebacker had dropped back into coverage, but he also doesn't really do a great job of planting his feet before he threw. He kind of threw it off his back foot, and it ends up being intercepted, which this play really isn't a play that a guy should make that's been playing in the league for as long as Eli has. I mean, this is kind of the play you'd see a rookie make, not Eli Manning. This next play is another area where Eli has struggled. He's going up against a cover 2 zone, and these are the routes that the Giants will be running. And if you take a look, there should be a gap in coverage right at the end of that route in particular that Eli Manning is going to look to throw to. Manning reads the play perfectly, knows exactly where the gap in coverage is going to be, and just misses the throw. It just wasn't a good throw, and that's what led to an interception. The reason I'm bringing all this up is I want to establish that Eli Manning definitely has his faults as a quarterback. He can be a bit overly cautious, he has a tendency to be inaccurate on certain throws, and sometimes he just makes boneheaded mistakes. Those seem like 3 pretty big flaws. However, I want to talk about what he still does well. Like on a play like this, for example. As you see, once again, it's a cover 2 zone, and those are the routes that the Giants are going to be running. But what's interesting about this play to me is look at where that safety is lined up. He's not really far back, and they're trying to sell as though it could be a cover 1 or cover 3. He's basically trying to sell as though he's covering one of the receivers on that top half of the screen. Because if he was doing that, that would basically mean that the linebacker right there would be playing in coverage in the middle of the screen, and that would take away all routes to the middle of the screen, even though there isn't actually anyone in coverage in that middle of the screen. He still reads the play quickly and throws it to the correct receiver on display to pick up a first down. Well, as I mentioned before, he will just make some head-scratching decisions from time to time. For the most part, he's a very smart and reliable player. He has been in the league for a while, and when you've been in the league for as long as he has, you're going to pick up on some things. So he still has the brain power to be successful. However, we all know of a Manning brother who had the brain power to be successful, but his body fell off. However, that's certainly not the case with Eli Manning. As you see on a play like this, he's going up against a cover 1 linebacker blitz, and those are the 2 routes that the Giants will be running. Manning fakes the play action, is patient enough to let Odell Beckham get downfield, and makes an absolutely perfect throw to get it to Odell. If it was any deeper, the Buccaneer playing safety could have been able to break down and make a play on it, and if it was anything shallower, then the Buccaneer playing man coverage against Odell to begin with could have then been able to make a play on it as well. So it really had to be a perfect throw, and that's exactly what it was. But of course, just being smart or just being good at throwing the football doesn't do much. You have to be able to do both at the same time, and let me show you a play where he does exactly that. As you see, New York's going to send a man in motion on this play, and since the Buccaneer follows him, they're going to know that it's man coverage. Tampa Bay is going to send 5 men to rush the passer on this play, but what's really interesting about this play is instead of having a safety deep, they're going to actually have a linebacker cover the middle of the screen. And this is perfect news for the Giants, as they have 2 out routes right there on the top half of the screen, and so that's where Eli Manning is going to be looking to throw the ball. But again, that's a tricky play, because he has to quickly realize that the safety who's back deep is actually covering a receiver and not playing zone coverage deep. However, he does figure it out quickly and ends up making a perfect throw to Odell for a touchdown. Beckham makes a great catch, but that's what he does. If you have a great receiver like Odell, you're going to want to throw it to him constantly because he's going to get open and going to make catches like that. And Eli Manning did that on display and made a great throw and great read that gave the Giants a touchdown. Let's take a look at another good play by Eli Manning. As you see, he's going up against a cover 1 hole, and these are the routes that the Giants are going to be running. This is actually the perfect way to beat a cover 1 hole. As you take a look, the Giants have 3 routes that could very easily end up getting open on a play like this. So then the question becomes, if there's 3 routes that could be open, which one do you look to first? And obviously, the easy answer is going to be whichever one's going deep. If you have 3 guys who could end up getting open, you might as well throw to the guy who's going to be open the furthest down the field. However, take a look at what Tennessee's doing on this play. They have 2 defensive backs communicating right here as they realize what this play call is going to be for the Giants. Due to the post-snap positioning, this could be very bad news for Titans, and they realize it. So they're going to actually switch assignments on this play and be able to guard a Giant who's closer to them. It was a really smart heads-up play by those 2 Titans there, and it really should help them a lot. However, Eli ends up making a perfect throw for a big gain. It was a fantastic catch, but it was also a perfect pass where only Shepard could catch it. Personally, in my opinion, on a play like this, there's no way you can watch it and say that Eli Manning is completely washed up. However, after watching this next play, I kind of understand why some people do end up saying it. They're going up against a cover 3 zone, and these are the routes that the Giants are going to be running, and if you take a look, it's really not the best way to beat a cover 3 zone. This is really designed to beat man coverage, which the Titans tend to run a lot of, so that's why they're running this concept. However, it's not really going to do too much on a play like this. So at this point, Eli Manning has pretty much realized that there's not a lot he can do, so the correct decision to make would be to just check it down right there. However, he's under a ton of pressure, so pretty much he has to just throw it right now or just take a sack. However, he's kind of going to do neither. He tries to run around in a pocket and ends up just fumbling the ball, which is a big mistake for him to make. This is, again, just one of those boneheaded decisions that he just shouldn't have made, and it's one of those decisions that you wouldn't want a starting quarterback to make, even though he can be so effective at times. While I do still think he can play in the NFL, I think it's fair to say that in 2018, he was a bit inconsistent. However, I would also argue that every season he's ever played, he's been a bit inconsistent. I mean, everyone remembers the great Mario Manningham catch in Super Bowl 46. However, take a look at the play right after that. New England's playing a cover 2 man, and those are the routes that the Giants will be running. If you take a look at that route right there, it could end up getting open, as even though it is in a zone, it's going to be towards the outside of the zone, and if that safety isn't breaking in that direction, it could still be a good pass to throw to. And as you see right here, that receiver is a little bit open. Not wide open, but there is an opening right there. However, Eli Manning just horribly misses the throw. It's not even really close on this one. I mean, these are the final minutes of the Super Bowl when his team is down, and he's missing throws like that. That's never something you want in a quarterback. However, take a look at the very next play. Once again, it's a cover 2 man, and now these are the routes that the Giants will be running, and take a look at that curl route right there. It's the perfect way to beat this kind of coverage, and that's where Eli is going to look to throw. He goes through his progressions, sees the open receiver, and hits him and gets to the 35-yard line, which is now in long field goal range, which is all they would need in a situation like this. From this point on, the offense could just go into kill the clock and get as many yards as possible, as all we need is a field goal to take the lead, since they were down just 2 at this point. Eli Manning isn't going to make every pass perfectly every time. No quarterback is. Not even Drew Brees or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers do that. Guys are going to miss some throws, including Eli Manning. However, he can definitely still play. Eli Manning was 9th in passing yards with 4,299. However, it should be mentioned that that probably doesn't tell the whole story. He also threw the ball 576 times, which was quite a lot. His actual yards per attempt was 7.5, which is 16th best in the NFL, which I think probably pretty accurately places where he is in the league. Not the best, not even top 10, but he's still a mediocre quarterback in my opinion. I'm not even saying I think the Giants should definitely keep him. I think it makes a lot of sense to try to move on from him in the future. I mean, the guy is 38 years old, so yes, at a certain point, you do have to look to move on from him. However, if you're going to say that the only reason New York has struggled these past couple of years has been because of Eli Manning, well, I strongly disagree.